Hi, I'm Lou Freeman. We're here in Destin, Florida at Coyote Ugly Saloon, and we're going to shoot an advertising campaign today. With any advertising campaign, the most important thing you can do is listen to what your client is trying to do with their business. They're going to tell you things like colors that are important, styles, mood, posing, just the general overall energy of what they're trying to say about the product they're trying to sell. In this case, we were looking for a sexy delivery, a colorful delivery, and confidence. And the confidence comes across to me with how the subject looks on camera, how they're posed, and the kind of impact that the photos are going to make that you're going to create for your client. I rely on some of my background with my Playboy lighting to help me bring a lot of impact with the light to a lot of the sets that I use. It doesn't matter to me whether I'm working with a speed light or continuous lights or if I'm using strobes, the impact still has to come across. To me, when I was much younger and working for Playboy full-time, I had a tendency to use lots of strobes, and as I've grown older, I love to carry a lighter weight gear and a little bit more easy to travel with kit. All of the Westcott modifiers fold down really small. I can put them in a smaller bag. I can travel with them really well because of the weight, and they last a really long time. The flexibility that I have by putting a grid on and off the light source itself allows me to control how that light is going to spread and the kind of impact I'm going to make with that light. When I think about glamour lighting, like the lighting I would see used in a campaign for Coyote Ugly here in Destin, I try to think about how I can bring that nighttime sexy ambience to life. So knowing the client and knowing what kind of impact their business has, that's the kind of way I begin thinking when I'm going to light it. Subject first, situation second, impact third, all things together make for a great photograph. For our first shot today, I'm going to share with you how I created a really beautiful set with 4 speed lights. You can also probably do something similar with 3 if that's what you have. Each light we have is specifically placed and set so that it has a function and a direction. We have on set here today 2 strip banks with grids. One is featured with a soft silk and one is featured without. That lets me also control the quality of light, whether it's hard or soft, as it comes straight from the flash, which is inside. And the grid takes that quality of light and allows it to only spread exactly where I want it to. So in the background, we have one Apollo strip with just a grid, and it's putting some pretty intense hard light right on the background, and there's no spill over onto the subject or along the wall behind her. The front lights, or the key light and the fill light on the front, is also featured with soft silk and a grid. That lets me put that beautiful light exactly where I want it, which is on my subject's face, and let it fall off down a little bit down her body, and then I fill in from underneath with a kick light from the bottom. We have also amended the speed lights with half CTO gels. We've taped these on to each speed light inside each Westcott modifier. So in every situation, no matter where I'm shooting, I like to look and see what's available in the situation that I can actually use as a part of my exposure. In this situation, I walked into the room and found that there were all kinds of cool little ambient light fixtures around that I could use, including this little lettering set up right in front of our subject. I picked an ISO that would let me easily accomplish a good exposure with that showing up. Then I built my flash exposures based on that. So I started with my ST-E3 transmitter from Canon, which I'm allowing to tell each one of my flash units how I'd like them to be exposed. Each one of these lights pointed in a different direction can be controlled from my transmitter on top of here. So right now I'm looking at, my ISO is at 1000. I'm working at 60th of a second because my shutter speed lets me see what's going on in the ambience around me. My flash is being exposed by that f-stop setting. So my f-stop here is at 5.6. So I'm still working with a nice depth of field. I have sharpness to about here. Even though I'm using a 24 to 105, I have a slight bit of fall off as the background falls to blur. In every situation I light for, especially when I'm in a controlled environment and it's comfortable in the room and I feel that I want to make the most of something, it's better to set it up from the beginning. So in this particular circumstance, I had 2 cameras ready to go, and all I did was switch my transmitter from camera to camera. being able to shoot close-up and full length all in one situation, horizontal or vertical shots at the same time. And this is a nice big setup with lots of interesting points in the background. We used all of the ambient light and turned it on and faced it so that it could be part of the exposure should we want to accumulate this certain area with that light. When I'm shooting glamour photography, I like to do something that's not normally traditional in photography for fashion, and that's using a rim light or a hair light. We positioned our subject so that some natural hair light could fall on her head from ambient light that we had existing in the room. And then I took another step to add a fourth speed light into the scenario. It is also amended with a CTO or half CTO gel. And then I used cinefoil to make a tiny little snoot to direct this hard light right onto the back of our subject. So the only difficulty we had with this shot is making sure that that speed light stays hidden completely right behind her back. So slow down and take a look at what you're doing and make sure your subject is posed perfectly right where you want her and that that light's hidden from your view. You'll get a beautiful little hair light all the way around her hair and a rim light around her body. And what that does for you visually is it pushes the subject forward and right off the page to the viewer who's looking at her.